How's it going, fam? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and today we are doing the final review of all of the Chris Reeve knives that we have been testing. So, this is the final thoughts, review, information, analytics of the Chris Reeve Small Sebenza 31 double lug in S45 VN blade steel, and the small 31 inlay in S45 VN blade steel, and the small 21 in S35 VN blade steel, and the small Inkosi double lug in S35 VN blade steel. A lot of knives. Absolutely ridiculous, I know. Ooh, sorry, I just shook you guys. But I really wanted to do as much research and kind of like myth busting that I could this month with these knives, because there are so many questions asked about Chris Reeve knives, and I really want to get as much information as I could, so I carried all of these for the whole month. Today is the 24th, which is a Friday, so we're a few days short, but I don't think I'll have time to put this up later on, so we're just doing it right now. Also, I'm literally so pale, and I'm so sorry. This lighting is horrific. I'm a vampire. I look even more pale now that I have black hair. I'm so sorry that your eyes are burning. Yeah, so we did the testing. You guys know that my reviews are not done until I do approximately a month of consecutive testing with a knife, and then I still won't do the review unless I've sharpened the knives, taken them apart, cleaned them, all that good stuff. Like, I want to get the whole experience and use before I review a knife, unless it's under like very special circumstances, like with the Delica that we just did a review on, and I still hadn't sharpened it, but I went over why we did the review, or the almost full review anyway, with this. So, generally speaking, my reviews are not done unless it's about a month of consecutive testing. We have to get rid of the factory edge. We have to use my own edge. We have to take apart the knife, clean it, and just put it through its paces before we actually have any thoughts. So that's what we did with all of these knives. Now, they're all a little bit different, and that's why I carried all of them. So we ran the factory edge on this one, and then sharpened it. We ran my own edge on this one, so this had already been sharpened, and we ran a mirror polish on that. On the 21, we ran a really gritty 600 grit 15 DPS edge. So you can see that bevel is a little wider and really gritty, like a working edge. And then on the Inkosi, we ran a 15 DPS mirror polish, which might be a little gunked up right now, but you can see it's kind of shimmery. Okay? So we were testing different angles of edges, different sharpening supplies, all that good stuff, because basically this whole idea originated years ago when I tested all of these originally, and then Super Steel Steve, back when I didn't even know him and he wasn't a friend of mine, he contacted me when I had my Instagram. He was like, you did that all wrong. You have to lay the edges back. You have to work through fatigued steel. You have to do this and that, and then these knives will perform way better. That video is like way back in the archive, but this has been a long time in the making, right? I am consistently testing theories and trying to debunk different ideas and stuff. So that's why these two have the 15 DPS edges, and we were testing Steve's theory from like years ago. So man, we have a lot to talk about. This is going to be a long video. Oh, and then we also, just to add more ridiculous information, we tried all different types of lubrication on these knives. So I took them apart, cleaned them. We tested Gunny Glide lubrication. We tested Knife Pivot Lube, which the label has worn off, but this is just their typical lubrication. It's not the light and it's not the heavy, it's just the normal. We tested the fluorinated grease that comes with your Chris Reeve knife, and we tested Slick 'em All from OCD for EDC. I did buy this with my own money. He has no idea who I am. I just tried his homemade salve because I thought it would be cool to test out. It's like literally thick as fuck. It's like thicker than your mom's ass, and it's like a thick salve that he made in his kitchen or something, and it's really cool. Thicker than your mama. And we were using this DMT 600 grit stone and this strop from River's Edge Cutlery that I've had forever. So we were testing all types of cool stuff. Okay, let's get into it. So, we'll start with this one. Small Sebenza 31 double lug S45VN blade steel. Factory edge was good but not great. It was convex. I believe they come in at like 20 degrees per side, something around that, like 20, 22. Uneven edge bevels, but not terrible, okay? So the bevel kind of thinned out at the tip and then thickened up a little bit, which you can maybe see on this video. Oh my god, if the camera could focus for this review, I would literally cry of happiness. I don't know if you can see that. Basically, it thins out just a hair at the tip, but the rest is pretty uniform. I followed the factory edge on this knife when I sharpened it, because we already had two that we had laid back. So this one, the sharpening experience went well. I recorded the whole thing. It's freehand. It's up on the channel. We sharpened this with the 600 grit stone, the DMT stone. This is a fine stone. This is what I recommend to everyone for a one-and-done stone for all of your knife sharpening needs. We used this and this strop, and we got a nice edge on it. The factory edge is convex. It's good, but not great. And it's kind of like a jack-of-all-trades type deal where it's not going to do anything in particular, like, very, very well, but it can do a lot of things decently well, okay? Fit and finish on this model was flawless. It still is. This is the perfect example of a perfect Sebenza. It is perfect in every single way. It is the Mila Kunis of the knife community. It is just absolutely flawless. And if you get one like this, you cannot beat it. You just can't. Am I a fanboy? Yep, I am. This is a perfect knife. And this is a beautiful representation of why people are obsessed with Chris Reeve knives. So this was a fantastic experience. Highly recommend the plain Jane Sebenzas. Out of all of them, this is my favorite configuration. I don't like the blue studs, and I do like the double lug. So this literally right here is, like, out of the entire lineup, my favorite, my obsession, and what I can recommend. Then we have the inlay one. Now, you guys know I have a history with this. This is the one that came very faulty to me, with the clips sliding around and the pivot stuck in there and all that ridiculous stuff. That whole experience is recorded on the channel. Just watch those other videos. But this is the one that I had trouble with, okay? So instead of sending it in to get a new clip fitted, I actually just ended up ordering a filler tab that I threw on there because I thought that this would look cleaner and feel nicer in hand. That is 100% the deal. So this one I ran the whole month without a clip. It feels much better in my opinion. The inlays to me are to improve the ergonomic experience. So why put a clip on there that hinders the comfort level of this knife when it specifically comes with the inlays to feel more comfortable and look more aesthetically pleasing to some people, right? So I took the clip off. It feels way better. This just slips right down in my pocket. I think this looks much cleaner. I think the inlays look better without a clip hindering that experience. I really like how this looks and feels. My friend put this beautiful lanyard on here for me. You can find that tutorial on Randy Johnson's channel, but I just think this whole thing looks clean, classy, rustic, vintage. I love it. It feels great, and without the clip, this just feels like a dream in my hand. This one also broke in very nicely. This is a knife that I've had for quite some time. It's not as new as this one. So this was just a dream to carry once I kind of fit it to how I wanted to experience it. We also ran a mirror polish edge on here. This was brought up to 8,000 grit on a Nanoa Waterstone, and then we stropped it to like, I think 0.5 micron, okay? So, nice and clean polished edge on this. Not something I recommend for S45 VN blade steel because it does glass out the edge a little bit, and I feel that these knives work better with a working edge left at like 600 grit. However, I wanted to run a mirror polish edge and just see how it did and how the retention was. It's very good. This has been sharpened numerous times. It did very well with the polished edge, but I still stand by what I said before. If you're doing tasks where you need a little bit of grit and bite, don't polish the edge on these knives. You're not going to receive a great deal of bite once you glass this edge out. So this does really well with food prep and tasks where you don't need that grit, but once you get into cardboard and rope and stuff, this is kind of sliding a little bit, okay? So do not polish these S45 blades if you need grit and bite in your knife. It is beautiful though, and with food prep and things that you don't need a lot of bite for, like maybe going through feed bags and stuff, this is just a beautiful experience. Then we have the 21. The 21 I have had for so many years. I don't even know how many years I've had this. But I wanted to test this because they are making magnet cut blades for the 21, so you can run your 21 still, get a blade replacement in magnet cut. That's why we tested this. Also, this is giving us an iteration of 15 DPS for a Sebenza because I left these at the factory DPS. So this one has a really fat bevel laid back to 15 degrees per side. We ran a 600 grit edge on it. We also took the pocket clip off because in my opinion, with the 21, the pocket clip was running on the lock bar, which has now been remedied with the 31. So in my opinion, these run much smoother when you take that clip off and you're not having that pocket clip ride on the lock bar and apply pressure to it. This is a very smooth knife now. That's crazy that a Sebenza can, fling around like that. That's really not normal. And I think that this is partially due to the fact that I took the clip off. So there's no pressure on that lock bar. I think it looks very clean. Again, with the filler tab, you can get those on chrisreeveknife.com. And basically, I just think this looks really clean. It feels great in hand, slides right down in the pocket, and the action is way better without that pocket clip on there. Also, this does have 15 DPS. It has a nice working edge from this stone here. However, the S35, way back when they made this, was heated, way too low. The hardness is way too low, and this just did not hold an edge. Even with the 15 DPS, it did not hold an edge very well at all. So, highly recommend getting a reblade in Magna Cut because those are going to be 63 to 64. It's going to be a world of a difference compared to the old school, low-treated S35 VN. So just blow through your blade, get the Magna Cut reblade, and start using your Sebenzas again. Use your shit. I'm sleeping with your mom. Okay, the last one. Small Inkosi. This is an exclusive that they ran for, I think, Knife Center. It has a black gun coat, which they also have discontinued because the gun coat does not hold up well. I put 15 DPS on this edge to test that, and otherwise we ran it stock. So it has its clip, double lug, all that good stuff, and we ran it like this with a nice fat bevel, all the goods. Out of all of the knives, this one performed the best, surprisingly. The edge performed the best. So I'm thinking it's a mix of geometry, the edge being laid back, and also this one being sharpened the most out of all of them. I have noticed that with the Chris Reeve knives, the more you sharpen them, the better the retention is. And you're removing some fatigued steel. You're getting into the good stuff. that's just something that's real life. Surprisingly, the more you sharpen them, the better they get. So, you know, this one has a nice fat bevel. This one was my best performer out of all of them. I really like laying the edges back on these. The gun coat does not hold up very well at all, but we know that, and that's why they discontinued it. So we have some wear and tear on the entire knife, some nice snail trail scratches. The gun coat's basically gone from that particular part of the blade. You can see some, like, hairline silver shining through from that titanium where the gun coat has just worn off. This is really beat to shit. And also, I don't know if I mentioned, but all of these I have tested before except for this. Ow! Ugh! My fridge just hurt me. All of them have been tested before except for this particular one. So I literally have done this whole test before on this inlay one, and this 21, and this Inkosi. We're just doing it all over again for Thianth. Okay? So, gun coat's gone. It performed incredibly well. This is just a gorgeous user. And man, did it pull through for me. I mean, look at all the scratches, guys. This thing is really beat up. It really is. Love running the 15 DPS on here. The action has really broken in very nicely. It has a good amount of resistance, as it should. It's just a beefier knife compared to the Sebenza. You don't have the pivot bushing. You have a huge pivot right there. This is just a beefed up Sebenza, essentially, with the lack of the pivot bushing and then the finger grooves. Really nice to use. This small one fits my small hand perfectly. I have small hands in a guy's world, and I have pretty big hands in a girl's world. So my viewers are basically all men, and they're like, you have the tiniest hands ever. But with females, I have measured my hands with females, and they're pretty damn big for a girl, okay? For what that's worth. So the small Inkosi for me fits my hand very well. However, it feels small. Like, I would never buy another small Inkosi for myself because it just, I don't need a knife this small. I mean, my hand kind of like engulfs this. You can see a little bit there, but that's because I'm like pushing my fingers into these grooves. Zadie! She's growling at her brother. This review is turning into like a very chaotic mess here. But yeah, so the Inkosi is absolutely fantastic. The S35 performed very well. Zadie, enough! With that 15 DPS. Yeah, it was great. This one had the best retention out of all of them, which was really cool. Okay, let's do the comparison real quick from the Sebenza to the Inkosi. So, if you're wondering which one... Oh my god. I'm wondering when the dogs are gonna stop making this chaotic. If you're wondering which one you will like more, the Sebenza or the Inkosi, obviously personal preference. I still like the Sebenza more. I just like the lack of finger grooves more on the Sebenza. It's more comfortable to me. The action on the Sebenzas also seems to smooth out a little more and have less resistance than the Inkosi, in my opinion. The Inkosi's pretty beefy and overbuilt, and it's such a pleasure to use, and I really ended up enjoying this a lot, but I just feel that the finger grooves really throw it off for me, and I just don't need that. I don't need to have a knife that's telling me where to put my hands. It's never been something that I've been a fan of, and to this day, I'm still not really riding that train. I really like how the Sebenza feels instead. Let's see. Let's do the lubrication. Let's lube some stuff up right now. Fluorinated grease from Reeve. Great stuff. I really like using it. I think it works very well. Nothing bad to say about it at all. I will continue using this for my Reeve knives, and I feel that you get a great action with this stuff. Knife pivot lube. No, I don't like using this on my Chris Reeve knives. I don't even like this in general, really. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of this lubrication. I think it's gimmicky. I think it doesn't work that well. I think it disappears from your knife too quickly, and I've just never been a big fan of it. Sorry if you're a fanboy of KPL, but I'm not. I just think there are better options out there, and I don't like this very much at all, especially on a Chris Reeve. That's a no-go for me. Gunny Glide, fabulous. I don't know... They put something in here. Like graphite something? I don't know. They put something in here that's different from KPL. It's thicker. It stays in the pivot area longer. And right now, this is what I'm running in the 21. I have cleaned these out and changed lubrications so many times this month. Right now, this is riding in the 21, and that's what you're getting that swinging action from. Okay? Just a heads up. So, really good stuff. I mean, this is just like... That's stupid. That doesn't even make any sense. And that's due to the Gunny Glide and this being old as fuck. This has a bent washer in it as well. Like, completely bent, and it still has that action because of this. So if you want a really flicky action on your Sebenza, use Gunny Glide. Highly recommend it. Great stuff. And then the Slick-em-all. Again, fabulous stuff. As far as I know, he's making this in his kitchen. It's a salve. It is very thick. It comes with some different applicators. So there are 2 applicators that come in the package. That blue one, and then there's a long, skinny one right there. I did not use the skinny one. I just used the blue one. Application was super easy. That is what is running in this one right now. And this has a fabulous action. It's kind of an in-between between the Gunny Glide and the fluorinated grease. So this is a little smoother than running fluorinated grease, but it's not flicky and fidgety like the Gunny Glide. So this is a really nice in-between if you just want your Sebenza to feel hydraulic, but a little, like on the easier end of hydraulic, okay? The Slick-em-all is really good stuff. I love it. It seems to stay in the knife for quite some time. Like, it's great stuff. It's really great stuff. Whatever that dude is doing, he's doing it right. Okay, we did the sharpening supplies. This is what I recommend for your Sebenza or your Inkosi, just a 600 grit DMT stone with some type of strop. You don't need anything fancy. This one is the one that I used, and it's loaded with compound. 3000 grit and 5 and 7. That's what I use. It works very well for the Chris Reeve knives. Finally, because we're at 22 minutes, this is a long review. Holy crap. And I'm like throwing so much at you right now. I hope that it's all being absorbed. Comparisons. Let's do some comparisons to comparable knives and knives that may suit you better. Okay? So, at one point, we brought the TRM Neutron 2 in because, in my opinion, for an American-made knife with titanium scales, great heat treat, all American hardware, all that good stuff, this is something that you could compare in some aspects to a Chris Reeve. So I did run these together. Obviously, the TRM performed slicier tasks better. That blade is really pushing for thin and slicey. And it is, and it does. Okay? So this performs with this flat grind better with slicey tasks, especially cardboard. It's way better than the Sebenza. Because the geometry and the grind are 2 totally different things. So this one performs better than this one with slicey tasks. This one also performs better than this one with slicey tasks. Even though this has the 15 DPS, this still performs better. And it does better than this, and it does better than this. So if you're looking for thin and slicey, you're not necessarily going to get it from a Chris Reeve, but you can get it from a TRM Neutron 2. This is one of the best EDC knives ever made if you're looking for fidget factor, thin and slicey, lightweight, all that good stuff. This is super fidgety, super smooth, American made, highly recommend. This will perform better for a lot of people compared to a Chris Reeve knife. You're still getting incredible quality and incredible customer service, attention to detail, warranty, all that good stuff. Let's bring in the bug out for a second. Another one that I compare just because ergonomically speaking and blade shape wise, these are very similar. You're getting way better quality and feel with the Chris Reeve, but this is thin, slicey, fidgety, all that good stuff. So if you're looking for something very lightweight, like 1.8 ounces, thin, slicey, you can dick around with it. If you're a fidget fuck, you can sit at your desk and, you know, flick this around and annoy everyone around you. Lightweight, all that good stuff. Overpriced in my opinion, but something comparable because especially with the, again, ergonomics, they're really similar. They're just like straight knives with a drop point blade. This one slices better than the Sebenza and the Inkosi. And then finally, I have a Delica here. If you're looking for ultimate slice factor, something like the Delica that's full flat ground with a thin slicey blade is again going to perform better than the Chris Reeve knives. Chris Reeve knives have a pretty decent stock thickness and they're hollow ground. They kind of tend to wedge through cardboard more than slice, generally speaking. So if you're looking for an ultimate cardboard slicer, please go with something full flat ground and very thin and slicey like a Delica or, you know, something along the lines of this. You're going to be way happier. Anything else? Warranty. Chris Reeve has a really good warranty. They send everything in the package that you will need to maintain your property on your own. They give you the microfiber cloth. They give you the fluorinated grease. They give you a hex wrench. They give you everything that you need to take care of your property that you paid for because they allow you to do that. I love that. I love that freedom. If you fuck up, you can just send your knife to Chris Reeve and they're still going to take care of you even if you're the one that messed it up. I love that. You can buy replacement clips, you can buy lanyard pins, you can buy hardware, you can buy filler tabs. Chris Reeve is one of the best companies, in my opinion, if you are looking to purchase something with your hard-earned money and then you want to own it for the rest of your life, but still be taken care of if you mess up. I cannot recommend their warranty enough. Yes, we have used it. Yes, it is great. I'll be honest, I think that because I know Tim and he's a friend of mine, I know that if I have an issue, I can literally call Tim because I have his personal phone number and I can speak to him directly. So I know that you could view that as bias and you could say that I'm going to get treated differently. Maybe I do. I'm special. I deserve it. If you don't like that, fuck off and go unsubscribe. But even if you are just a general customer, I have heard from thousands of normal people that don't know Tim personally that they had a great warranty experience. So there's that. You will be taken care of. These will be taken care of for the rest of their lives. You can get blade replacements. You can even get the scales reblasted. Like, the warranty is just kind of unmatched, and it is what it is. It's really great. Prices have gone up on these. As we know, a couple of months ago, inflation hit everyone hard, and these knives are, like, at the low end, $500. Do I think it's worth it? Yes, I do. I do think it's worth it. You're just getting unmatched tolerances and an experience that you will never get from any other knife company. They are the Mila Kunis of the knife world. You just cannot beat a Chris Reeve knife in any aspect. These are hard-working tools. I've beaten the shit out of them, and they just never give up. I love them. And like I said at the beginning of the video, you're buying a knife that's a jack of all trades and a master of none. These can cut through cardboard, rope, food, process game, all of that stuff. Some of the tasks it's going to do better than others. I actually really enjoy processing game with Sebenzas. I have those videos on the channel where I am processing game that my dogs hunted and took care of. These are really great game processing knives. They're great farm knives. They're not the thinnest and sliciest, so if you're just like in a warehouse cutting cardboard all day, this is not the knife for you. But if you're doing just a couple packages throughout the week and you're looking for kind of like a great tool, this is going to be it for you. Either one, even the Inkosi. And I did take a video of this moving through cardboard just to kind of show you guys how it does do that, so that's also on the channel. But the The Sebenza is just a great all-around tool. It's extremely rugged, extremely durable. I have pried with these. I have poked with these. They never give up. I have batoned with this one, so we did do a lock test. That video is also on the channel. I batoned through kiln-dried firewood with this exact knife. The lock did not give out. It also did not move. I don't recommend batoning with a Sebenza, but I'm a crazy person, so I do. It never failed. I have pried with these. I have cut through bags of quickcrete with them and completely annihilated the blades. All of that content is on the Use Your Shit playlist. So if you want to see me literally, like, trying to kill these knives, that content is on the channel for your viewing pleasure. That's a tongue twister. Or it'll make you vomit. I don't know which one. I think that's it. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. This is a very long video and a very long review, but final thoughts, buy a Sebenza, buy an Inkosi. I recommend them. They are my favorite knives, basically all around right now. I am obsessed with them. Yeah. I hope that was not, like, too much information just being blown out at you guys. But yeah. All around, highly recommend the Sebenza, highly recommend the Inkosi. It just depends on what you're looking for out of your knife. This is a little more overbuilt and robust. This is a little more sleek and elegant. Try them both out if you can. Borrow them from a friend. See if you can do a trade for a little while and try somebody's out before you spend $500 on one. That is all I have for you guys today. So, with that being said, we recommend both. I love them both, and they're just the best knives ever made. Go use your shit. Put some snail trails on your knives. Learn how to sharpen them. Take them apart. Use them. Don't be afraid, guys. Please, especially with the Chris Reeves, because if you mess up, you can just always send it back. Strap them up. Sharpen them. Use them. I love you guys so much. I will see you on the next video. Take care. I'll see you when I'm at your mom's house next week.